Yo, this is the anime guy, and today I want to talk about Jinwoo skills. Now, I was an OG in solo leveling because I followed it since it was like 30 chapters in, and I've loved it. So I was really scared they'd screw the game up, but so far they've done a really good job. And so I'm gonna cover today Jinwoo's skills because it can be quite confusing for a lot of new players, especially just starting getting into a game. I'm gonna try dumb it down so that it's nice and simple so you guys can understand. Alright, Jinwoo, he has 11 of these skills, and from each skill there is also 4 of these different runes that you can use. And each rune has a slightly different ability. So you can imagine 11 times 4, what's that? 44 skills. It's a lot to go through. But nonetheless, we're going to do it, and you're going to have a complete guide on how this works. All right. So first of all, how do you actually get these skills? First, you want to go into the fusion part here. And this is where you're going to majority of the time get your skills here. You get 100 of these rune fragments, fuse them, you have a 2% chance of getting the epic, 98% chance of getting a rare. So good luck, it's all RNG. Once you get the rare, you can also, it comes into your skill book in here. But if you manage to get a dupe, you can go into the skill rune heroic here and actually put in the dupes here. So I only have 1, so I can't actually craft it, but once you get 3, you have a chance of getting an epic. You have a 35% chance of getting an epic, and now mine is 42%, is because I've done this 7 times in a row and I didn't get any epic. So I'm really hoping I get my epics soon. And once you get epics of, the repeat ones or the dupes of epics, you can put 3 in for a chance for legendary, and it's 25%. This is a late game thing. I myself don't even have a legendary yet. So if you're out there and you're free to play, if you've already got a legendary, great to you. You've got really lucky. I hope you smash this game. Alright, so that's the majority of how you actually get the runes. How you get rune fragments, you can get it through a red gate. I don't recommend, because for the gates, you want to use and get the gold and blue ones, especially using the A ranks and the S ranks. Okay. Next, you can also buy them from Celebration Coin Exchange. So let's go in here. You can use the red or blue currency. If you're a free-to-play player, don't buy the rune fragments using a red. Save them for the tickets. But you can use the blue to buy. So you can see I've already bought mine, because the red you can only get from pulling SSRs, and the blue currency you get from pulling SRs. Okay. Now, if you're pay to win, there's an option for you to go in the bonuses and buying rune fragments from here. Right. Last thing I want to talk about is the event shop. If you're watching this now, the treasure hunt event is so good for getting runes. This is probably the best event for giving you runes, because you can see every day from the missions, all you need to do is log in, clear 5 gates, clear 2 instant dungeons, and you can even get a free bell in here for free. I've already purchased that, you can see there. So you get 4 every day to flip these tiles. Out of these tiles, you'll get, the best reward is a treasure box. So this is on my 6th one, so I get the premium one. But if you do the treasure board from 1 to 5, the best reward is something like this, a skill rune support chest, where you can get a chance of either 20 frags, you get a rare one, and epic skill. Oh, there we go, epic skill. All right, and how you get them, it accumulates. So after 10, you get 20 runes. After 20, you get 40. Then you get that support chest that I showed you. Then you get a premium at 40. And at 50, they just straight up give you a random epic rune. So this is so good. And every time you get another 30, you repeat it, and you can get epic runes and epic runes and epic runes. So this is a great event for people that wanting to get more skills, which I think everyone is wanting to get. All right. Cool, so let's go back into Jinwoo's skills. Now, to sum it up, out of these 4 rows, the bottom ones are the ones that you're going to focus on, especially the bottom 2. Alright, so skills are broken up into 3 main categories. One is break damage, second is DPS, and third is utility, such as AoE and freezing. And so the best skills are ones that have all 3 together. So the best skill in terms of break in this game is armor break. You get the skill for free once you're level 55 and you do your advancements. But if you're a lower level, you probably don't have this yet. But you can still get lucky by going through the fusion process and getting one of these runes. Now you can see all mine are still in rare. I'm really wanting to get an epic one of these soon. But the best one for armor break, in my opinion, are the water and fire ones. Why? Because as I said, this has both utility and break. And why do I say that? So no, my bad. The fire one has both utility, break, and DPS. Because the fire one does incredible amounts of damage. 1469% of Jinwoo's attack. And what this down button is just you have to hold it down to actually cast that skill for it to actually maximize the damage. But it deals Almighty Break, which is the biggest and best break in the game. You just melt your opponent's break bars with this. And when you use this skill, it increases crit hit damage by 30%, which is crazy. So fire is one I use all the time. Water is the second one that I use because it freezes the target. So if this has an elemental weakness against water, definitely use this one. Wind and light, not so much, but still both very good breaks because they both still do Almighty Break. Right? So that's armor break. Next, second best break is Death Stance. Now you get this epic light rune for free if you log in for 7 days, and it gives you heavy break damage. Okay, not only that, once you do heavy break, it also increases your crit hit damage by 30% again. So just imagine, I use Death Stance, and then I use this fire armor break. That's 60% increased crit hit damage, and I use my other skills. That's so much damage for Jin, because in this game, when you build, you just go for crit rate and crit hit damage, right? So those two are your best breaks, but if you're starting out early and you don't have this armor break yet, next option is multi-strike. Multi-strike, you want to use the water and fire option, because the water option, it gives you medium break, but also gives you a weak break at the end when the final hit lands. The reason why you want the fire version is because it also does medium break, but it deals damages to bosses and elite monsters increased by 30%. So this is really good for bosses, and before I was talking about for the Death Stance, the dark one is also really good because it deals heavy break and deals 45% damage increase for bosses and elite monsters. So for Death Stance, you want these two, the light and dark. Don't use the wind because it's weak break. Fire you can when it's like elemental weakness against fire, but I like to use these two more. Okay, so the next best break is this. If you don't have any like Death Stance or armor break, your best breaks are this one, multi-strike and crushing blow. But if I were you, I wouldn't even bother leveling this up because you're never going to use it mid to late game. Okay, so that's the breaks. The next one are the DPS. Best DPS in my opinion is Mutilate. Mutilate, especially the Stroke of Lightning, because look at it. I have an epic rune. It deals 1,159% damage, and there's a 30% chance of ignoring 100% of the target's defense. So it doesn't matter what buff they have on, this just ignores all of that and deals crazy damage. Right? Again, you hold this skill down. The next one would be the water one, because it deals 669% damage, but it also freezes. So I can freeze the enemies and deal more damage without actually having to worry about dodging the boss's attacks. So Mutilate is going to be the next one you focus on, as well as Vital Strike. So Vital Strike, honestly, a lot of people like it, but I myself don't really, other when there's fire bosses and they're weak to water. I use Vital Strike for damage, but that's only under the time when they don't actually have a break bar. So stuff like Serby, which is going to be one of your main bosses you face, you're always going to use like this one, Iceberg, in terms of breaking it, and you either use the light or dark to help break it even more. Right, so this is the best for damage. The other good damage ones is Crosshairs. Now Crosshairs, you will use this most likely when you face the wolf in the instance dungeon, because this deals additional 45% to bosses and elite monsters, and the wolf is weak to water and fire. So these two are really good options to use in terms of just pure damage. So if I were doing someone like facing the wolf, I'll use crosshairs, and I'll use something like this one, mutilate on the water. So it's called cold storm, right? The rest, like these four, honestly, I won't even bother because you're not going to use them. One honorable mention that we'll get is the second skill, effulgence. I don't know if I said that right. Bad thing is it doesn't have an element, so you can't take advantage of the elemental weakness. But what's good about it is when this skill hits, it resets. So essentially you can spam this twice, giving you around like 900% damage. And when this skill is used, it increases the crit hit damage by 20%. So that's actually really good. So you can technically, I think you can stack this for 40% damage, which is actually pretty good. All right, so if you have a higher version of this, I definitely use it. But for my case, I have other skills that I like to use, so normally I use those instead. And the last one I'll talk about is Black Hole. Right, so it's not called Black Hole, but Commander's Touch. But everyone uses Commander's Touch's Black Hole because this is the best AoE skill, period. None of these even match up to it because Black Hole creates a vacuum in the map and it sucks all the enemies in. And based on how many enemies are in the black hole, it increases the damage. So you can use this, and then you can still run around and use your other skills to do another additional damage to all the enemies that have been sucked in. Right? If you don't have black hole, any of the other Commander's Touch will still be very good AoE options for you to use compared to the other skills. Alright? So that's a quick breakdown. Last thing I forgot is the ultimate skill. Once you level this up, or once you get your Jinwoo leveled up, you're going to level up Mutilate. Do not waste your resources on leveling this Darkness Obliteration up, right? It may feel powerful at the start, but this is the one that you level up. Don't even touch this, all right? Don't make that mistake. All right, cool. So if you have any other questions in terms of, what skills you want to use, which ones you'd like to use, comment down below. Otherwise, that's it from me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.